morning in Leeds, and welcome to the Every Bus vlog. Just the one route today, and it's not a long one, but I'm singling it out for reasons that I'll get to. Way back when I started, the last park and ride I visited was King Lane, served by the 7 and 7A buses. They are 2 out of a set of 3, the third being the 7S. Here's a map. There's a bus every 10 minutes for much of the day, alternating between each of the 3 routes. All 3 start by heading straight up Scott Hall Road. The 7 goes up to the park and ride at King Lane via Steinbeck Road, then to nearby Primley Park. The 7A does much the same via Moortown, then on to Old Woodley, hence the A. It's hard to say which of the 2 is more direct, there's only a couple of minutes in it, and which is faster varies throughout the day. The 7S follows the 7A's route as far as Moortown Corner. Where the 7A turns left and heads up to King Lane, the 7S turns right and heads off towards Shadwell, hence the S. So, since we're on board the 7S, let's have a quick refresher of the route. On the way north out of Leeds, we have yet another visit to Shepscar Junction. Then we take the familiar route up Scott Hall Road, so far, so 7A. It's here in Moortown where the 7S diverges, almost meeting the 2, 3 and 3A shortly after they leave the Gledo Termini, coming within a couple of streets from them. Now we're into new territory. From here, the 7S finally leaves built-up areas and goes along Shadwell Lane, which then becomes Main Street when it gets to Shadwell, and it's a really pretty route. There's lots of greenery here at the north end of the route and some very lovely buildings. One highlight is a fish and chip shop. I would have visited, but it's unclear if it was open, or, if it is open, where you're supposed to go in. There's also a library, which Leeds City Council tried their best to shut down, but it was taken over locally. It now opens twice a week as a cafe, and for a couple of hours here and there during the week as a library. There's some lovely old houses mixed in with some relatively new builds, and finally there's this turning circle. The bus turns around and, after about 10-15 minutes of standing time, goes back to Leeds via pretty much the reverse of its outbound route. When we get to the turning circle, we almost but not quite meet the X98 and X99 routes on their way up to Wetherby, close enough that we could probably walk the connection if we had to. But otherwise, that's it. So, looking at the runtime of this video, why have I dedicated an entire episode to just this one route, you may ask? Let's walk and talk. For the last 2 episodes, I spent 2 6-hour days on Middleton buses. I then spent a third day going back here and there filming static shots. It took me a day and a half to edit the video. It took a great deal out of me. And I realised that I've been pushing myself too hard. I've been trying to do too much in each video and not being able to focus enough on each route. This is supposed to be a hobby. So as the 7S pulls away, the next one's half an hour away, and I'm left here with my thoughts, really, and not very much else. Am I enjoying this? Yes, I am enjoying this. I mean, look around. You wouldn't guess we're just over half an hour from the hustle and bustle of the city centre. It's lovely. And if it weren't for this channel and this project, I would never have thought to come here. I could quite happily have stayed in Shadwell for most of the day, sitting on a bench, playing on my DS, and then hopping back on a bus to Leeds and then to the park and ride. Which is more or less what I did. And with that, we've reached our last stop for today. Remember to check out the Patreon, where you can watch these episodes free and ad-free. I have 2 membership tiers now. For the first, you get early access whenever new episodes happen to be done. And for the second tier, a video of pretty much the full length of the 7S is already available. The camera fell over at one point and I had to change the battery, but other than that, the video's a complete run. And there's some nice ambient music over the top too. But as always, and whatever else you do, please don't forget to thank your driver.